Hey guys, welcome to the studio. Today we're going to have some fun with Yupo paper. It's a special type of paper, kind of like a photography paper. It has like a special coating, and so your paint like kind of sits on top of the paper and dries. So anyways, here is my example, and I did a praying mantis for mine. So there it is. But you can see the neat effects you get. So anyways, I will go ahead now and show you how to get started. For today's project, we'll be using Yupo paper, which is available at different art supply catalogs online. It's a specialty, kind of like a photo paper with a special coating on it. So we'll be creating insects on Yupo paper in like an abstract style. The supplies that you'll need for today's project are Yupo paper. You'll need a pencil, a permanent marker like a Sharpie, and I suggest using a dark color. You'll need some washable markers, water, and a paintbrush, or you can also use a dropper. Either one will work. And then you might want to look up some visual references, pictures of insects, butterflies, or whatever you decide that you're going to draw. And we're going to be doing insects, and so I have a picture of a praying mantis that I'll be using as my inspiration for my drawing. Step 1 is to draw your insect design. Make sure you draw it large. This is something where when you have to outline and add color and fill in, you need the space. And so if it's too small, you don't have enough space to accomplish all that. So make sure that you draw it big. For the next step, we'll go ahead and divide our background into sections. Once you've finished drawing your insect and your background, then you're ready for step 3. Trace all pencil lines with a dark colored Sharpie. So that means even these small lines, I'm going to outline with the Sharpie. Now that you've traced all your pencil lines with a dark permanent marker, you're ready to color in with washable marker. The reason we use permanent here is because when we add water, we don't want these lines to move, and we color it in with washable because when we add the water, we want those colors to move. And so that's why we use the two different types of markers. So now I'm just gonna go in and add color. I will make sure that the colors I use for my insect are totally different than the colors I use for the background behind them, especially in the areas that touch. If I use green on him and then I use like a blue-green in the background, it would be too similar. So I want to make sure that I have a color around his body at least that is very different from him so that he will stand out. So now we're ready for step 5, to add water. We don't want to add too much because then the colors will mix and run all over the page. Just enough to get the colors to kind of turn to liquid, but to kind of stay in place where they're at. You can do that using a paintbrush or a dropper. And you'll notice on mine, like you can see the markers already kind of mixed just because they have a little wetness when you're coloring with them that causes them to mix. I left white around the insect because I don't want like the pink mixing too much with the green. I kind of want to keep those separate. So I kind of left like a little white outline around the praying mantis. And so now I can start, and I'll show you kind of how both methods look. If you do the dropper, and you might start, you know, kind of away from your insect until you kind of get the hang of it. But you can get like a neat look like that, and it kind of will slowly creep out and move. This way you have to be super careful because you can get too much water pretty easily. But you can also have control by like getting a paper towel and holding it in there and soaking up some of it, but just remember it will also soak up the ink. But that is kind of how the dropper looks. And then if you wanted to go in with a paintbrush, you just kind of go in like this, kind of dab it on there. And then as you let the water sit, it kind of does its own thing and makes its own designs within your colors. And so it kind of changes after it sits here for a while and kind of mixes together. And so now I'll just go through my picture and continue adding water. Once you've finished adding the water, then you need to let it just kind of stay level in the same place and dry. Don't try to pick it up or it will run everywhere because you'll still have like puddles of water, because basically everything sits on top of that protective finish that's on the paper, and that's why you get kind of the neat swirly effects. You noticed I was going in with a paper towel and like in some places taking out like the ink where it was too dark. Right here, it's kind of mixed and gone on to the praying mantis onto his little arm, but I like the way it looks, so I'm going to leave that. So this is kind of the part where you really get to be, you know, a true artist and decide, what am I going to keep, what needs to be taken away. So I took away some out here because it was kind of too dark in that area, so I kind of went in and lightened it up, but then left some of them dark. Just to add interest. So that's kind of the part where you get to have fun. It will change a little bit more as it sits here and dries, but I will just leave it now and I am pretty much done. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you'll try out some Yupo paper when you get the chance. Please like and subscribe for more creative content. Thanks.